All right.
All right, then let's go. It's section 31, episode number 369. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Rogue Schindler.
This week, we had 2 days in a row of Trek. We had a scrapbooking party on Saturday, and then we had a 1E event that I just stopped in on and got to see you guys playing on Sunday. So where do you want to start?
Well, let's go chronologically. Saturday, we cut up a bunch of cards.
We did. We cut up a bunch of cards. We cut up all the cards, which is fantastic. All the promos for replacement kits for the past sets and the next version N and version, I think, 23 or 13 or something like that. And anyway, the 3, I think. Or maybe it was VII. Maybe it was 18.
The 18, that sounds right.
18. All right. That is right in the middle then. So those are all cut up. Most of them have been marked, and a few of them have been pasted down. We concentrated on getting things done that needed to get done. We got a couple of masters coming up, so those are all ready to go. I'm gonna be sending those out soon. And then we've got another meeting planned for about a month from now. We'll get the rest of them put together, and then we'll have new stuff up in the promenade. So exciting. Probably this weekend, I'll go through and inventory everything, and at least there will be the older kits up for purchase. So you can support the Continue Committee by requisitioning some tournament kits for your local plate group. So that was fun. Unfortunately, there were only 3 of us, so we couldn't play triples.
We could not play triples, and even like at one point, I said, well, why don't we enlist Cordelia? I mean, she's
played before, yeah.
She knows how to play triples, but she was occupying my daughter, without which we would not have gotten anything done, and we certainly wouldn't have gotten any triples played. So it was more productive to be productive. So we were, but yeah, maybe next time. Maybe we can get one more in, and we can play triples. And it was 2 days, despite having 2 days in a row of Trek. We had 2 triple-less days because we only had 4 people at the tournament, and Johnny is, unfortunately, I mean, he can make it to the tournaments, which is good, but that's the caveat is he just plays in the tournament, and he can't stay for triples. So we did, though, have 4, and we played
Awesome.
1E. OTF constructed. Everybody built decks. I even I made the joke Friday night when we finished our regular weekly gaming a little bit early. That's like, well, I guess I can go home and actually make a deck, a new deck, instead of playing the one I played last tournament like 8 months ago.
Yeah. Well, I built the deck as well. I mean, I stopped in. We had a softball event in the morning, so I stopped in as soon as that was over, and you guys were, I think, wrapping up maybe the first round.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I figured, hey, if there's an odd number of people, if someone else showed up or someone didn't make it, I'll jump in and play a round. But I didn't need to, so we had our lunch and then got out of there. So I think I I don't even know what the finals were of the 4 games. You were playing Thomas, and JD was playing Johnny. So what happened?
Yeah, we played round robin, and I started off. I got the lucky draw because of the other 3 of us. I got to play Thomas first and learn what was wrong with my deck before playing it wrong against everybody else. We were joking early. Johnny was saying we need to rig some kind of temporal device so that we all get to play Thomas in the first round, so he can tell us.
So he can tell you what you're doing wrong.
What we're doing wrong and what doesn't work. He did confirm for me a couple things I was pretty sure didn't work, but that I unfortunately forgot to change before I left, that were a little bit hingent upon me actually getting stuff done right at the beginning. But I mean, some little things, some kind of big things. I net decked from, and I was going to look this up and I can't remember. I think it was a gentleman in Austria. But I really liked the deck, the look of the deck. It was a bunch of things I had not played before. So, which is something I was interested in, trying out a couple of different engines together. And I'm not logged in, so it's not going to let me look at my deck. And this computer does not know my password for some reason. But it was cadets. So the Valiant cruise, and my favorite part of it, and the most entertaining part, variety-wise, was executive orders.
Oh, the new HQ card?
Yeah,
Newish.
which lets newish, which lets you every time you play a card to that location or a personnel to that location with a property logo that you do not already command on a personnel, you get to draw a card. And the therapy, group therapy. So
Oh, how'd that work out?
the augments. It was, or not augments, but
Jackpack?
the jack pack. It was tremendously useful, especially after Thomas was like, "Yeah, you can pretty much just use this ever." Wow, that's amazing. So I got the good things and the bad things that I could do with my deck that I didn't know, or I could or couldn't do. But an idea of how out of it I was. I did a test draw, and I was like, wow. So you assign support personnel to get Karen Lowe's because she's the important one. They have to report to her. They can't, otherwise you don't get the report. But she's a support personnel. That's great. You get her right away. I didn't even realize that. And then you have the Mirror Universe Draw Engine, Study Divergent History, first turn. So that lets you draw cards. And the group therapy does not have a limit on it. And I was staggered. I was like, what do you mean this doesn't have a limit on it? Anytime I draw a card, I can download somebody instead. That's amazing. I draw 2 cards with Study a Different History. I get 2 jack packs. I download Surprise Party. I draw 2 cards at the end of my turn. I download 2 jack packs. I get all 4 of them in the first turn. And then I can go get Julian on my next turn. And Thomas is like, I think you already downloaded somebody this turn. Like, that's right. That's a rule. That's a thing that you have to do now. And that significantly slows down that process. And Lauren downloads a thing that lets you download somebody else. And it was just like, this is insane. I get a whole bunch of people all at once. No, I don't. But it was still really cool. I still got, Karen Lowe's right away, Patrick right away, so I could get somebody else and get Surprise Party, pretty early, which has always been like the, Surprise Party is really cool, but you never know when you're going to get it.
Surprise.
It's a surprise, but Patrick likes throwing surprise parties, so that's cool. I love the new card that Lauren downloads, the Simple Pleasures in Life, I think. The Troy and Samuel Clemens that lets you, if your crew, there are less women than men in your crew, you can download a woman and otherwise draw 3 cards.
Wow.
Which I'm pretty sure, at least what I was using, was to use it to download Counselor Troy to get intuition and guess a card in your opponent's hand each turn to draw a card. It was just like draw, because there were 1, 2, 3, 4 play engines, because there was Maquis as well. They call themselves Maquis, and a couple of Badlands / demilitarized zone missions. So it was just stuff everywhere. So that made it really interesting. It was a really fun deck to just like, what am I going to draw? What am I going to get to play? What am I going to do? And draw all these cards. And there was a temporal conduit. Just is this in here? There's no time locations. I guess in case you need to move to somebody else's time location. But he had temporal investigations and Dulmer and Luxley. I was like, oh, you want, and luckily Johnny did it to me. Otherwise, I would have totally forgotten that you get an extra personnel download on your opponent's turn if you have a way of doing it.
Right. So you're drawing cards on the opponent's turn if they play AU.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I convert them into a genetically enhanced download. So that was really cool. Luckily, Johnny going to the top to me like second turn, and I was like, oh, that's right. That's a thing that you can do. So I did that on his turn. I download for Troy on his turn. So that sped things up a lot as well, and really interesting. It was fun to like I always agonize over which of these two cards am I going to need. How many skill? More of that skill. These guys are like, nope. I'm going to play the one that I have. Oh, which Maquis do I play? I play the Maquis that has the property logo that I already have in play, so that I can play this other guy who doesn't have it, so I can draw a card. It was pretty cool. The Jack Pack were crazy useful. I actually just walked right by Medical Crisis a couple of times because Bashir won. All right, one of you is randomly stopped and actually had other medical as well. So and then Lauren has double bio because she's with her Jack Pack, but Bashir also has bio. So it was like, oh, all right, well that was easy. So it's like standard standby wall dilemma that almost everybody plays, and just cruise right by. So
Neat.
Yeah, lots of fun in there. Sometimes I got a bunch of cadets and no Maquis. Sometimes I got a bunch of Maquis and no cadets. That's the danger of a big deck and just hoping to draw a bunch of cards and play a bunch of cards. But I still had a ton of fun. I squeaked out a win against Thomas because I quinned his mission attempt. He was short. Thomas was playing the Dan Y deck, which is the Chef TNG Starfleet hologram, and he hit my quantum incursions as the last dilemma on his only mission that was cleared up and short. And so he's like, all right, well, holographic T'Pol is going to holographic mind meld with holographic Jonathan Archer to give him like, nope. Holographic, nope. So I dropped 5 points from my one mission to cancel that, and then he had to go back to rescanning. Anyway, I think he actually, irony of ironies, got stopped on the something and 2 AU requirement as he sits there shuffling through all the AU cards that no longer have the AU icon.
That's fun.
But yeah, he was learning his deck. I was learning my deck. We kind of went a little bit slow, and so that was a timed win for me. I got one mission and canceled out his. Johnny was playing an interesting Blitzkrieg deck, Cardassians and not I was going to say like TNG TOS, but it's just all Feds and Cardassian. It was like Cardassia is basically anybody who plays for Free to Central Command, anybody who is a support personnel with Dominion War efforts, and TOS was anybody who plays for free to the headquarters and anybody that you could possibly download. He had there's the new 20th anniversary card that lets you download a TMP ship that he used specifically just to get a ship, just so he could download a personnel. He got Admiral Riker, so, a bunch of Admiral Rikers, so he could get Admiral Riker and get the Enterprise and get the Future Enterprise or he actually didn't get the Future Enterprise, got the Starship Enterprise, so he could download a personnel, and a generic ship, so he could download a personnel, and this so he could download a personnel, that so he could download a personnel. Not all at once, but over the course of
and on your turn, right?
And on my turn, going to the top and anything you could do to get personnel out as quickly as possible. And so, it was really fast. I got pretty close on a mission. Ironically, and I kind of give him a little bit of hard time for it at the end, but I know it wasn't intentional. But it was still 0-0 when time was called, and I got a really bad luck draw on the last dilemma. Like I had, he needed 2 1 in 9 chances to get both cards he needed to stop, or a 1 in 9 and a 1 in 8, and he did.
All right.
And so I had to wait till the next turn. I could do it on my next turn, fine, but I went first. And so then his turn, he's like, we had like 3 minutes left. when his turn started, and he's like, "Okay, do this." And I just started like trying to sort. Oh, do I play this? Wait, no, I don't want to play that. He's like, I'm like, oh my god, please just hurry up and go. Like, there's 3 minutes left, and I need another turn. I at least want to get on the board. And while he's shuffling all his stuff, time gets called, and I'm just like, ah. So while he's still doing that, I scanned it, and I got the one thing I couldn't do because I only had my 1 empathy. I had 3 empathy in the deck, thanks to all my Troys. But it was the wrong one. So like, okay, well, it doesn't matter that I didn't get another turn because I couldn't have got past it anyway.
Very good.
In the meantime, Johnny's like, okay, I do this and I do that. And I come here, I do that. I come over to, and it was like, oh, time was called, so I guess it's time to score 100 points, huh? And that's what he did. He got a full win.
Wow.
And I was like, look, I didn't plan it that way. I was like, I know he didn't. It's just funny. But he just he had such a metric ton of personnel at that point that it was like, he was debating whether to hammer away at the quantum incursions or just go with everybody and,
sure.
or, like piece by piece or just onslaught it. And he got by that. And then he did micro teams to hit up other missions. And it was very well played. He had a lot of good combo stuff, missing some stuff that you didn't think he would be missing, but still came away with it in the end. Of course he did, because Johnny's a great player. Still had a great time. We had a lot of fun playing and listening to the shenanigans going on at the next table. And he's like, just you wait. You will be as confused as we were. And I vaguely remember reading the cards when they came out and thinking like this is going to be troublesome, but like not having a lot of attention to divert to it at the time. But JD dove in and played the distant control remote Romulans, which he was kind of frustrated with as we started, because like the first 3 dilemmas were all like, it's like, I don't know how to do that. Like, how does that interaction work? Because, it tells you cards can't die. Only empathy people can die. That's very clear. Control. Everybody stopping and going, okay, well, how does this work? Like, well, how does it work? Conceptions behind this. Well, this works. This does that. The straight up is, with like reload to a spaceline location, because they're not actual things like male love interest, female love interest, that put you at a mission. Can't, because you're not there. But then we came out with questions like Kobe and Maru. That doesn't say, it doesn't put you at a location. It says they go under the incident because they're otherwise occupied. They can't contribute to the mission attempt. My thinking was that they were like, oh no, somebody with computer skill needs to be handling this problem. Otherwise we can't do anything else. It doesn't say to relocate you to a mission. They're just on that incident. But I got outvoted. I was like, come on. Clearly, like that could very clearly have been somebody in the distant control room needs to handle whatever Kobayashi Maru incident is going on while the rest of them continue the mission attempt. But whatever, there's a whole laundry list. Like we hit Forsaken. Can a card is going on below your deck, being placed beneath your deck, moving? No, that's not a spaceline location. So man, I guess I have to lose somebody. And then up your shaft, put somebody on top of your deck. Every time you hit it. So it was like much confusion, much entertainment trying to figure out what was going on. I had my Valiant was on my last, all 3 of my games were, here are my 6 missions and here are your 6 missions. Mm-hmm. And the Valiant mission was right at the edge of Romulan space. And I could not draw a cadet to save my life. I'm like, this is perfect. This is thematically appropriate. They're just going to go diving behind enemy lines and like throw danger to the caution to the wind. I choose the danger and just go in and like keep them. And I just like digging and digging and digging to get a cadet so I could freaking like move in there, and finally I had to use my Lauren download to get a female. So I got Savick, and then I had to ready room door for Tim Waters, just so I could staff my ship. Of course, as soon as I did that, I drew a couple more to play and got to move. But I moved into the neutral zone, so he couldn't complete any of his patrol neutral zones.
Oh, right.
And then I got my Deviant plaque out so I could move over and actually fight some of his drones. Then he busted out holographic skin and had turned into the scimitar. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess it's worth it. I'm going to take you out, even though I'll take damage. The plaque, but or Chem's log, but it was only shields of 13. Yeah, weapons 13. So, it was just it was really fun. It was really entertaining back and forth. In the end, he was getting frustrated with, I guess, all of my putting cards back around his deck kept taking away the cards because you have to have 3 skills at that. It was like treachery and leadership and empathy, I think,
Something like
to
that,
be able to attempt from there. And I kept sending away his treachery, which kept short circuiting his attempts, and that gave me enough time to. I don't know if I got a full win. I think I got 2 missions and then got stopped, but I did get the win in the end. So really interesting deck. I definitely see how that could take off. It's like kind of like Borg and hologram. I have no idea, if anything I have played is going to do anything useful. I was so excited to see Thomas's holograms because I hate them so much, and I brought my deactivation, which can be downloaded with Ready Room Door, but he had somebody with him the whole time. I was like, it has to be a 100% hologram crew, and he never got away from his space missions to have to drop a holo. And it was like, as soon as that hologram, those holo emitters go down, I'm gonna erase your deck. But it just never happened. It was too bad. And but speaking of entertaining plays, Johnny freaking ship dropped me as soon as he realized I didn't have any ref cards, and he had been he kept an eye, and I had my one hidden agenda sitting there for the longest time, and it was a defend homeworld. He didn't know that, and I finally used it because I have so many other downloads to get through first. And he had apparently been sitting on AU personnel in his hand, playing everybody else because he had it. He knew he had a space-time portal in his deck, and he finally drew it and he played it. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna try this. I think this works." And he drops like 8 people in a.
That's awesome.
A future. When I said he had a mountain of people, was not kidding. And I was like, "Fine, I'll download Delmar and Luxley." When you play you, I guess that's but yeah. The other Bizarro card that was in the deck that I almost took out, and I was like, fine, let's try it, is Davidian Door.
Oh yeah.
And once I finally played it a bunch, and it's like, okay, this is really just an extra free report. Because it's not, you have to have one on the table first now, and then you call it out and have to discard one by the end of your next turn. I did kind of live in fear that somebody was going to have some way of doing what I was doing, which was, Jack downloads telepathic alien kidnappers in your hand, and you discard the. I know because I used Roe to bleed resources off of him and discard his other Raptor 1 and his stupid backwards compatible Romulan events. JD had one of the forcing your hand. Yeah, he was like turn 1 was cool. No, you can't. no, you can't have points. It's like, okay, well, I'll play this event for free, and he just had like a whole mess of stupid 2E events that should stay in stupid 2E. But yeah, it was funny. We were talking about afterwards. Well, and I was like, I was gonna say never ever give him the point, but I didn't realize for the 140, he was just gonna try to do all space.
Oh, right, yeah,
and stay his little room. In which case, I might have given him a couple of points, but it was all in all a very interesting day with a lot of interesting cards that have I not seen in a long time, or new cards I hadn't seen ever. My only disappointment on the day was nobody hitting my Q flash.
Really? You had what, two flashes out there and didn't get hit?
2 flashes, like the same dilemma combo got hit every game, and no flashes.
Was it the combo that you wanted people to hit? I mean, was that what you were aiming for?
I mean, yeah, it's the Ankari Spirit, Forsaken Ankari Spirits, and then I changed up what I put as a wall after it. I think every game, but yeah, I mean, I think I had 1 3-3 opponent, and then the other 2 were 2 space 4 planet, and so it was like, well, let's make the space hard.
Yeah.
And that was always the one they went to.
Well, I put together a deck late Saturday night and early Sunday morning, and all during the 2 softball games, I cut it up and sleeved it up, and it was ready to go. I don't think it was shuffled, but it was it was definitely in order because I was checking it against the checklist. It was terrible, and I'm glad I didn't get to play it because as I'm cutting things up, I'm thinking, oh man, I should put that in here. All right, well, maybe next time. Oh, I gotta remember that other card. Okay, well, I got this blank. Maybe I'll just proxy it, but didn't matter. So it's still boxed away. I'll bring it next time. It'll be ready to go. Maybe depending on how far in the future it is, maybe we'll get some new cards for it or not. But I'm looking forward to it. It's something kind of I played a long time ago, and I made some changes based on one of Johnny's decks. So it's really huge, but I think it's got a good mission set, and it has, I think, more dilemmas than I've played in a long time. Because it's got very few seats. So we'll see how it goes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like more than, at least, I think I had like 20 dilemmas, 23. It was crazy.
Yeah, the one thing I wish I had more time to do is like customize the deck. And I know I always say I take a good deck and then I screw it up. And it's largely true, but there were just a handful of things I was just like, how was this supposed to work? What was this person thinking? Like, were they just wrong? Did they screw up thinking that they could play this? Because a winner of Borg, that's who made my deck, Stefan. So I was like, that seems, let's see, he's a pretty reputable player. I was like, he knows more than I do. I'm just gonna build it. I'm gonna throw it in sleeves, and I'm gonna like do some test draws, and like hopefully I'll figure. But Stefan, I do not know how you were thinking you were going to get Kess into play, because I do not see any way to get to play her in this unless you were thinking you could download her with the Finer Thing in Life.
Did he have a
Life Simple Pleasures? Temple Michael Wormhole. I just saw no way of playing the Delta Quadrant personnel that were in there. Balana and Chakotay have the Maki icon. They could play to the planet because it directs where to play them. But Life Simple Pleasures doesn't do that. Defend Homeworld doesn't do that, which is the way I could see of a reason for having Pank and the Sunkatsu ship in there, which I realized after the fact as I was driving into the tournament. I was like, that's clearly the reason they're in there, to download and then get the ship right away and have a good ship away to move your mission specialists over to your headquarters so you can start studying Divergent history. And there's, they don't play there that way. So I had to fall back on the only universal ship in the deck, which I luckily left in, which was Stolen Ship.
Stolen Ship, right?
Yep. But it only has one staffing icon, and the two mooks who I downloaded as mission specialists only have one staffing icon between them, so they can get on it and move over by themselves if necessary. So that was nice. I do wish I had added more matching commanders when I threw in the handful of captain's orders and ready room doors, but I really wanted to have Tim Waters. I threw in a Picard because I had one in my trade binder. I wish I had taken Beverly Picard because I had I managed to draw into the pasture several times.
Davidian Door.
Davidian Door just lets you play anything?
Yeah, any planet.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I feel like I knew he had to have something.
Yeah.
I'm like, it had to be something I couldn't see. Yeah, Davidian Door, it does a planet. That's the link I was missing.
And what did you?
All right.
Did you have the gift in the tent or something so you can escape from a dilemma?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's good at that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's the reason to have her. If you're not, going on, playing Delta already.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, well,
far too many Davidian Doors in a box somewhere. I feel like I should print out just the lower half, just the text box, and just tap them down in front of all of them, and then just make the deck, play with a dozen of them or so, because I do remember having a lot of fun with that a long time ago.
I remember you liking it a lot. I printed out one proxy box and I set that one in my deck, and then as soon as I drew a copy, I put it aside in my box and pulled out the copy with the actual text on it.
Yeah, nice.
And so, all right, here's my foil with my actual real text, and I face towards my opponent because I'm like, oh, I'm sure everybody's trying to remember what changed, what changes were made. So, all right, well, Stefan, I'm sorry I doubted you. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, you know better than I do, so I wish I had seen that sooner. Effective. I did get excellent use of Khan, though, which I almost took out. Which was fantastic. Johnny discarded his equipment at that Cardassian mission to get the 20 bonus point. It's like, nope.
Nice.
But we those bonus points. Didn't matter at all because he still scored 120 points in turn, but it was still very satisfying.
Yeah, that's great. Did you scare any of the Magic players by yelling it?
I did not, because there was one there who had wandered over for lunch.
That's funny.
Now much closer to Game Empire, and he's like, what are you guys playing over? I kind of look like Magic. Like, yeah, no. But yeah, no. I unfortunately, I should have, but I feel like the Arby's folks don't know us as well as they used to.
Yeah, no, they've had a lot of turnover.
The regular management used to really know us and like us, and we're a little less regular than we used to be.
Certainly.
So, yeah, try not to scare the normals. But anyway, really long way of saying.
A good tournament afterwards, after I left. So
an excellent day.
The deck is, like I said, deck is all put together. Maybe maybe we throw together a game sometime. I'd love to try it out.
Sure.
Even with all the things I didn't remember, just have time to throw it together and play for science, etc.
Yeah, I would love to actually play it the way it was meant to be played now, with the Kess and the Pank and the not being it.
Excellent.
All right, cool. Well, I think that's all the intelligence we have for this week. That was a lot of fun, though. We had a big tournament, and we have a 2-week tournament scheduled for 3 weeks from yesterday. I believe November 14th, like the second week in November. 1, 2, 3. November 17th or 18th. That weekend will be a 2-week tournament. If you are so inclined, come out and join us. I believe it's going to be standard constructed. And then 3 weeks after that, we're going to go in and have 1E of some sort. There's still on the table whether it's going to be constructed or not, since it's the week before Geekmas, and we're getting into the holidays. We may go.
Oh, did you drop off at the very end of the show? Oh, Rogue is frozen. All right. Well, then looking forward to the tournaments that we're going to be playing. That's fantastic. It sounds like we've got 2E and 1E on the table. So we'll look forward to that. I will close out the show since Rogue is frozen. I will say that our intelligence is coming in. You return.
Yes.
All right. I was about to close out the show because you were frozen. So I said that was the extent of our intelligence this week.
Well, then I guess it's up to me to say I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I will draw to end.